Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Grade A Flicks for another episode of Grade A Fantasy. This is going to be pretty much a video basically a combination of yesterday's kind of messed up vid with a preview on how to play and what to look out for on preseason slates, and a little bit of a breakdown. So I apologize for the quality of that last video. But I'm going to pretty much go over some of the stuff that kind of got chopped up with the stutterness and the lag of that laptop that I was using. And then we're pretty much going to go back with the quality of just using a good old phone. So, first off, we are here. Welcome back, football season. The Hall of Fame game is pretty much, 27 and a half hours to lock, I think. And FanDuel is running a nice contest for 10K to first. So we will go over do's and don'ts, and go over a little bit of a slate preview and what news that we got so far. So, first off, as you can see here, we all know, because everybody is either going to get, the spreading time is already going to be kind of planned out with a quarter here, maybe a half for this person, quarter and a half for that person, this and that. All salaries are the same. So yeah, does that mean you're always gonna? I think it's gonna happen every year. You're always gonna get a few people that's gonna put the starters in there, whatever. Even though they know damn well they're not starting. It always happens. But rule number one is you don't really have to play the starters. You don't have to play the starters at all, if ever. Preseason is all about time. Preseason is pretty much all about time and opportunity. None of the starters are playing at all. So as you can see here, everybody's 12. There's already a couple of people who's out with injuries. Some people who are already going to be, by closer to the lock, you're going to see a lot of these people not available because they're not going to play. The status is just not up yet. But like Nico Collins is not playing. You're going to get the Cole Commence that's not playing. You're going to get, obviously, Charlie Heck injured. CJ Stroud's not going to play. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen not going to play. DeAndre Swift, so on and so forth. So, with that being said, what we need to do is, one of the main rules is what you have to focus on is you have to be able to focus on getting news and the depth charts. So when you look at the depth charts for certain teams, you have to realize that when the starters don't play, you will have to, let me get this out of here. Thank you very much. You have to be careful in how you group. Now, preseason is not all about stacking. You don't have to stack. You just need the right amount of people to get, a certain amount of points. Maybe the kickers are available. Kickers are always optimal. That's another thing you have to remember. That should be rule number 2. Kickers and defense are always optimal, especially when the kickers already have the job. You only worry about kickers when you have 2 kickers vying for the job. When that happens, it's the same thing until they cut one. One kicker gets the first half, the other kicker gets the second half. So in this case, automatically I can let you know that Kyle Fabra and Carlos Santos, they are going to be very viable for the slate tonight. Very viable, without a doubt. So, as you can see here in the player 1 column on this side, what you're going to be looking at is the fact that none of these guys will be playing. So now, we'll use an example of, if you want to stack, which you don't have to, CJ Stroud's not playing. So right here you go next. Right here you go to Davis Mills. You look at Davis Mills, and then what you get is pretty much you start looking at the number 2s in the wide receivers. So when we go up to here, you see Noah Brown. I don't think Noah Brown's going to get a lot of playing action. I think because of the wide receiver depth that they have, you might see Robert Woods. Normally, you don't really see veterans like that, but there is talk that he might be on the chopping block. I mean, when you do what they did, and plus the wide receiver depth that they have, I mean, when you look up top here, perfectly healthy. You already got Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. When there were little injuries here and there, you had Noah Brown stepping for the slot. Noah Brown might get a limited amount of snaps, from what I heard is not perfectly clear. Robert Woods might get some snaps. He might have to show something because he might have to fight off John Mechie III. Mechie was very sick last season, so he has a lot to prove coming into this season. But from what I'm hearing, the most impressive people coming into the training camp is top of the 3rd line depth. You have Xavier Hutchinson and Ben Skronik. Xavier Hutchinson has made a few highlight plays matching up with Davis Mills, and so has Ben Skronek with his big 6'3" frame. He's very versatile. They could play the slate and play the outside. I would say most teams, it's fair to say, rosters 5 or 6 wide receivers. I mean, you never have a you never have a 6 wide receiver set, but most of the time you're running 4. You have 5 because of the depth, and the 6 guys mainly either the punt or the kick return, or maybe that's the running back. But under those guys, you also have Steven Sims, Quintus Cephas trying to make a name for himself. I think if I wasn't mistaken, he was suspended last year because of the gambling thing. He was suspended for a year from Detroit. And then you got, the college free agent Jaden Jenkins and Johnny Johnson. So Johnny Johnson III. But right now, when it comes to the wide receiver battle, Hutchinson and Skronek seem to be making big names for themselves, which is why people like Mechie III and Robert Woods are rumored to be on the chopping block. So that's just an example with depth. So, for instance, obviously the starters aren't going to go. So you would do something like a Davis Mills. You see Davis Mills right here. So if Davis Mills is here, he'll be playing with the backups most likely. So if he does play with the backups, he'll most likely get snaps with Mechie, Robert, maybe Noah Brown. Like I said, it depends on the snaps. And then, of course, if you go with deeper, like I said, I don't expect guys like Robert Woods, a vet, or Noah Brown to get that many snaps. I think Noah Brown makes the team. But, hey, things could happen. People could get outflashed. Then you worry about stacking with somebody like Xavier Hutchinson. Then with Case Keenum, Davis Mills is going to start. So when you have Case Keenum, when you normally have 3 quarterbacks, first off, you normally have the first quarterback normally gets up. He normally gets a half. If he doesn't get a half, he gets the whole first quarter and most of the second. Case Keenum will probably get either mid-second or most likely the third quarter. And it's always the third quarterback gets the last quarter, which means we won't see Tim Boyle to the fourth. So people like Case Keenum, if you're wondering, trying to hit a home run to stack, you'll probably have him maybe with a little bit of Xavier Hutchinson, but you also have him with Steven Sims, Ben Skronek, and then maybe Jake Jandon. And then you might have Tim Boyle. He might get a chance to play with maybe Skronek, but then he'll be with most likely Jake Jandon, Quintus Cephas, and Johnny Johnson III. So that's pretty much how it goes. That's how grouping goes. You normally go out with the people you've been practicing and taking snaps with. So, but other than that, when it comes to key plays, the main position and the main focus is at the running back position. So with the running back position, Joe Mixon is nursing an injury. They just signed him to a big, nice deal or whatever. He's not playing. The big position battle is Dameon Pierce, my boy, who I gave y'all a lot of advice on a couple of years ago. Struggled last year with the new coaching change and the zone run scheme. Plus was dinged up a little bit. It was already known that he's going to get extensive run. He's supposed to start. We all know starting running back doesn't mean nothing. All starting running back means he's going to be the first on the field. But Dameon Pierce is pretty much going head on with Jawar Jordan. Jawar Jordan, on the other hand, he is a better running back and adapts better because he ran a zone blocking scheme in college. He's shown a lot of promise. So basically, this is most likely a battle for the backup of Joe Mixon. The main thing about Jawar Jordan, what might also make it interesting, despite the fact that he understands that running block scheme more, he's the pass catcher. Dameon Pierce, they do not throw to Dameon Pierce at all. His job is to, if he gets those kind of snaps, run on first down, run on second down. That's his job. Jawar Jordan, he could probably do the same thing, but he's more of a second down and probably catch it out the backfield third. So that's one of the main things right there. I think that's a quick rundown, but when it comes to key plays, I do love Jawar Jordan, Dameon Pierce, and obviously Kyle Fabry because he's the only kicker in there. And then most importantly, no matter who subs in or subs out, when it comes to preseason, the defense is on the field. No matter who you sub in or sub out, the defense will always get points. As we look on this side, we're going to look on the Chicago Bears depth chart. Like I said, DJ Moore, even Romeo Dunze, the rookie, they got high plans for him. He's not playing Keenan Allen, all those other guys. So you're going to have, and probably my number one play besides the 2 kickers and the 2 running backs from the Texans, we're going to have right here Tyson Bagent. Tyson Badgett, he played a couple of games with Justin Fields hurt, and the man is a dual threat. He can run. So I love his upside. I think he's going to tuck it down and run a bit. Apparently, there's supposed to be some weather issues there tomorrow, some torrential downpours. We already know how rain goes. It looks this bad, maybe 24 hours, and maybe the rain is not that bad, or it's bad for a certain period of time, then maybe the rest of the game is going to be good. Who knows? But they are expecting weather. When you look at the depth chart here now, because he's the backup, most likely he's going to be throwing to DeAndre Carter, former San Diego player, wide receiver, Velus Jones Jr., and Tyler Scott. I don't mean to dumb over the tight ends, but for some reason, unless they really want to focus on the tight ends is not really a position. I mean, they could get some catches, but tight ends is not really something to really look after here. I mean, you're going to have a couple of guys I think you got 3 tight ends that's not going to play. So it kind of helps in a way. Komet's not going to play. Gerald Everett, not going to play. And Mercedes Lewis is the veteran. I think they're just going to keep on the cheap contract. So I think you're just going to have guys here, Carlos Stevenson, Tommy Sweeney, and Brendan Bates. Either they try to make the team, but they're probably going to be maybe special teamers. Who knows? Like I said, for stacking purposes, as you can see here with Brett Rippen's probably going to be looking at playing with former Giant Dante Pellis, Colin Johnson, and Simba Webster. And then with the fourth quarter, like I said, it's 3 quarterbacks here. So the rookie Austin Reed's probably going to play with a combination of maybe Colin Johnson, Simba Webster, and then get Freddie Swain, trying to stay into the league, and 2 other rookies, Peter LeBlanc and John Jackson. With the running backs, DeAndre Swift, I don't see playing. Khalil Herbert, I doubt he plays. But from what I hear, it looks like it is going to be a semi-crowded backfield. So maybe Khalil Herbert gets a couple of drives, but definitely look at Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer trying to stay into the league, former unrestricted free agent from Seattle. And then you got college draft pick Ian Wheeler and Demetric Felton, former Cleveland Brown. So that's a quick rundown of the depth charts. Other things you just want to decide, like I said, stacking, I give you those groups because, like I said, once again, those are the guys that they play with. Those are the guys that they're taking a lot of snaps. But you just got to pay. Like I said, anything could come out even after I bring out this video. But right now, the main thing is Damian Pierce and Jawar Jordan going to be going after that running back battle. It's literally those 2 guys, unless somebody else shoots up past them and plays well. It's literally going to be those 2 guys shooting up for the backup to Joe Mixon. Pretty much other than that, those are the main things. Starters normally don't play. Pay attention to any media reports in the depth charts, which I just gave you a quick glance of. Kickers and defense are the most important because, especially when the kickers are only by themselves, the drive stall. You can see some ugly preseason football, but the ball can't move. If it moves decent enough, these kickers are they got to get their reps. They got to get their reps in, so they're going to be kicking these 30, 40, sometimes 50-yard field, and they're going to get a lot of points. The defense, no matter who subs in out, they're viable for points all the time. So that's pretty much what you get there. Now, a little interesting history about this game here. So I saw the opening line today. It was my first time checking out Sportsbook in a while. I'll switch out of here, and I guess I could switch it back to the FanDuel page just for the hell of it. If I could just get there. Hello? Can I get to the FanDuel page, please? I guess you're not... there we go. So you'll take a look at all these guys here while I'm doing this. I'll do a slow scroll. So I did an interesting thing with my own research. So over under this game is 31.5. For those who are interested in betting that, I think I saw it at minus 112. I think the last time I checked it. So what you have to understand is, especially with the rain, it might go under. It might be a little sloppy, might be some turnovers, defensive might be optional. Here's an interesting thing. The main reason why you're probably going to see kickers in this game, sometimes depending on the kicker and the offenses, you might see them on the regular season slate anywhere from 10 to 18%. If the kicker's really good, you might see them 18 to 27%. Kickers and defenses should be in the 20s, and the kickers should be at least like something like 38.2, 40%. They have to be damn near at least half the lineup. They have to be. Proof is a lot of the scores show that there's a lot of field goal kicks per game in each Hall of Fame game. I went back the last 10. 2016, the field conditions were bad. So there goes Kyle Fabrum. And if I scroll a little more, you should see Kai Fabrum, and then you should see Santos here somewhere. I think I probably passed him. But so here's an interesting stat for 31.5. The books were sharp with this line. Very sharp. So here are the stats that I was trying to go over, but obviously my feed wasn't going too well, so I'm going to repeat it again real quick. Last 10 Hall of Fame games. Once again, 2016 there was no game, 2020 COVID. Since 2012, only one game has gone over 40. 4 games gone under 30. The average over-under total for these games since 2012, 30.7. Only 5 games went over 32.5, and 2 games went under 20. And there was Carlos Santos right there. So I will go back a little bit with my little bit of homework here. Interesting slate. The highest scoring game in the last 10 years, 2013. Dallas beat Miami 24-20. That was a total of 44. The second highest is tied by 2 games. 2017, Arizona and Dallas. Dallas won that 20-18 for a total of 38. And the other 38 total, a game that I played a couple years ago, Las Vegas and Jacksonville. Las Vegas won that game 27-11 with a total of 38. And last year's game just missed that because it did get crazy towards the end. That helped me cash real well with the late touchdown that I stacked. 2023, last year's game, the Hall of Fame game, Browns and Jets, 21-16 for a total of 37. So the books know exactly what they're doing with that 31.5. Now, if the weather is bad, don't be surprised that line moves down. If it stays, I think it's a safer under to take because it looks like it could be a game with a total of 20 to 24. Like I said, in the last 12 years, in the last 10 Hall of Fame games, which is 12 years, that's what I mean, 4 of these games did go under 30, and right now it's set at 31.5. Just so you know. And the average over under for these games, 30.7. Obviously, when it comes to fantasy in the regular season, even 44s, 38s, and 37s, we don't want to play those games. It's the pretty much at minimum you want a 47.5, and you want them to go over. So 47.5, and then when the elite offense get together with bad with bad defenses, you want the 51s, the 52s, even the 53s and a halves. But you're not going to get those games. You're just not. You just plainly are not. But pretty much, I think I pretty much went over everything that I wanted with a few notes to keep an eye on, how if you want to stack. Like I said, stacking is definitely not important in preseason. You're just looking for guys who get the most opportunity. If you could get the most touchdowns and field goals and have the right MVP, you're good. Every now and then, though, like I said, I like to make the GPP play, and maybe the quarterback that I have. For instance, like I said, it worked for me last year. I think it was DTR on Cleveland. I forgot who was the little speedy wide receiver, but the wide receiver ended up making the team too. I forgot his name, but it was a late touchdown. I ended up cashing real well. I think I ended up 3xing what my entries were, and I think I only had like 15 to 20 entries or something like that. So, but like I said, you don't have to. I'm just giving out unique advice. For instance, like I said, you have Davis Mills here. You can easily have him on the first couple of drives, and like I said, he most likely is going to get a half. So he's going to see Robert Woods, Michi, Noah Brown. Oops, didn't mean to tap Noah Brown. Oh, hey yo, but he's also going to take a look at Hutchinson and maybe even Steven Sims because he's going to get a quarter and a half at least. Like I said, the typical 3 quarterback rotation, the person who starts normally gets a half. Davis Mills. Then it's going to be, for him, in that case, it'll be Case Keenum and then Tim Boyle. Teams don't keep 4 quarterbacks. Somebody has to show something. So, and then on the opposite side, like I said, when we look at Chicago, the quarterback battle, it's Tyson Bagent, Brett Rippon, and Austin Reed. I mean, unless Austin Reed can really show something, it's really Reed and Rippon. Like, I honestly think on both teams, both Badgett and Mills are going to end up the starter anyway. When it comes to key plays, once again, on the Chicago side, I like Tyson Badgett. When it comes to the wide receiver side, Velus Jones has made some plays. The fact that a proven somewhat of a vet, and this is where some of these guys look good as late hits. It's just a case of can the quarterback hit him. Whether it's Tyson Badgett or Brett Rippon, hitting somebody like Dante Pettis, who's been in the league. Now, of course, he's in the position he is for his, talent and other reasons. Whatever, there's a bunch of wide receivers better than him. But somebody who's been in the league for a while, going against third depth in the preseason, veterans like that are guys that I like to go after. So, besides the kicker and the defenses, when it comes to Chicago, my favorite plays are Tyson Badgett, and I think I'm going to like the fact that also somebody like Travis Homer, he runs hard, he's trying to make a point, he's trying to make a team. I like Travis Homer and Roschon Johnson. Wide receivers, I think Dante Pettis. You might even get a little something out of Freddie Swain, but like I said, wide receivers might be nuked because of the weather. And when we go back to Houston, once again, we will be looking at either Xavier Hutchinson, Mechie the third, he needs to prove a point, and Ben Skronek on my top wide receivers. I like Quintus Cephas as well. And then, like I said, probably the two most popular people that's going to be there, the two people who's going to have the ownership the most after Badgett, or even more than Badgett, is going to be Damian Pierce and Jordan Jawar. When a coach says two running backs are going to get extensive play, you're probably going to see a combination of these guys up to the third quarter, or at least both of these guys in a half. Because I think Dare Gumbawale being the vet might not get that much burn. And then after those carries, after those two running backs out the way, once one gets the rest, the other one's coming in. So either or is going to be getting constant run, constant points. Akers, I don't think is going to be ready to play. I don't think you got to worry about him. After Jawar Jordan and Damian Pierce, I think you're going to look at pretty much J.J. Taylor and the rookie British Brooks in the second half, maybe mid to late third going to the end of the game. But Jordan Jawar and Damian Pierce are looking at extensive runs. So I'm pretty much sure those two running backs will begin the first half. I hope this was a way better video than that crappy nonsense that came out yesterday. Good luck if you are playing the slate tomorrow. I will be as well. Once again, everybody's the same salary. Let's laugh at the people who picked the starters. And let's get this money, guys. 10K to first. Exciting contest. It's normally a 5K to first, but 10K to first makes it just that more exciting. As you see all these guys here, as the slate gets closer, you're going to start seeing, like I said, a lot of guys. You're going to see a lot of people with these injuries. They're going to be ruled out. There's a couple of these guys also that's already on the PUP list. They can't play. And like I said, the starter is going to be with a red. Oh, there's going to be a lot of red labels under a lot of players. So once that get waivers around, you're going to start seeing some people. And hey, man, let's get the first single game slate underway. But I hope everybody loved this video. This is Grady Fantasy, signing off.